Hey, this is Michael with trainingwithmichael.com. Glad you're here. Listen, I'm putting together 2 short trainings on goal setting. Norman Vincent Peale said, no one can get anywhere unless he knows where he wants to go and what he wants to be or do. You know, it didn't really take a famous person to say that for you to know it, did it? Because I think if you've lived life any time at all, even if you've just graduated high school, you know that it's the lack of goals that have stagnated you and haven't gotten you where you need to be. So I've got 2 trainings here that I want to put out before you, just short trainings on goal setting. The first one you may have heard before because we're going to talk about SMART goals. The second one I don't hear people talking about because the second training I've entitled How to Hit Those SMART Goals. Setting goals is one thing, hitting them is quite another. So this first training here, we're going to talk about SMART goals. The second training, we're going to talk about hitting those SMART goals. So what is a SMART goal? If you've never heard of that phrase, it's simply an acronym. Every letter in the word stands for something. So let's get on it. The S in the word SMART stands for specific. If you're going to set a goal, it has to be specific. Now what do I mean by that? Well, you can say, hey, I want to make a lot of money. Well, that's sort of specific, but can we narrow that down? How much money do you want to make? How much money do you want to make in a year? How much money do you want to make in a month? Or, hey, I just want to have a better life. Well, what does better life mean? Does better life mean all your bills are paid? Does better life mean you have a new car or you go on a greater vacation? You know, get that goal specific. So let's say your goal is money. A lot of people's goals are money, and really what that means is they want to do a lot of other things, and it takes money to do it. But let's say your goal is money. The second letter in this word, M, means measurable. Measurable. What does that mean? Well, that means how much money do you want? If your goal is money, then we have to be able to measure it. If you say, hey, I want a lot of money, well, you know, months go by, 6 months go by, years go by. Do you have a lot of money? Well, I guess I got more money than I used to have, but do I have the money that I set out to get? You see, if you didn't make that goal measurable, then it's very, very difficult to hit. It's very ambiguous. So if your goal is, hey, I want to make a lot of money, well, put a figure on it. I want to make $1,500 more a month. You know, if you're in a multi-level marketing business, you're in a network marketing business, you're it. There is nobody, unless you've got a sponsor that stays on your shoulders, there is nobody that makes you get up in the morning. There is nobody that makes you work hard. There's nobody that makes you make the phone calls. You've got to set these goals in order to force yourself to get it done. So first it has to be specific. Second, it has to be measurable. What do I want to do? Do I want to make $1,500 a month? That'd be a good start goal if you're still working full time and you're doing a multi-level marketing business spare time. Hey, $1,500 a month, that's not a bad first goal. Hey, I want to make $100,000 a year. That's fine. It's measurable, right? The third letter there, the A, means achievable. In other words, you have to be able to do it. Now, you don't know me very well. I'm a middle-aged man. I'm 5'4". I'm 5'4". Short for the average human. I think the average human is 5'8", 5'9", something like that. So for me to say, hey, I want to be an NFL football player, or I want to be, hey, an NBA basketball player, that's not even an achievable goal for me. So whatever goal you set, it has to be achievable. Let's get back to money. You say, hey, I want to make a lot of money. I want to make $100,000 a year. Well, if you are in an opportunity, if you are in a business where it is nearly impossible to make $100,000 a year, then it's not achievable. It's not an achievable goal. So you have to look at your pay plan, your pay structure. You have to look at the leaders that are above you. Is anyone else in my company making $100,000 a year? Or $100,000 a month, for that matter, because there's many people in MLM companies making $100,000 a month. But you want to make sure your goal is achievable. So it has to be specific, it has to be measurable, and it has to be achievable or attainable. You can use the word attainable. You have to be able to actually do it. You know, if you say, hey, I want to fly 1,000 feet, well, that's specific and that's measurable. On my own, by the way. Well, that's not achievable. You can do that in an airplane, but you can't achieve that as a human being. So it's got to be achievable. So that's the S, that's the M, the A. The R means it has to be realistic. And that sort of goes along with achievable, but hey, it's got to be real. It's got to be something that you can actually attain to. It's got to be something that you can actually reach. Make your goals real. For instance, maybe you wanted to make a specific measurable goal. I want to make $100,000, but I want to do it in 2 weeks. You know, that's probably not achievable or realistic. So you have to lay down and just really think about this. Just lay down the rules, lay down the gauntlet. Listen, what can I actually do? The last letter, the word or the letter T, is one of the most important letters in this word, in this acrostic. It has to be time sensitive. It has to be time sensitive. In other words, you have got to put a deadline on this goal. I want to make $100,000 a year by, and you give yourself a date. I want to make $1,500 a month by, and you give yourself a date. So let's say you're starting January 1. You're one of those kind of people who, and this is not a bad habit at all, that November, December, you start setting your goals for the next year. So you say, hey, I'm starting in December. I want to be making, say, $5,000 a month, or I'm starting in January. I want to make $5,000 a month by December, and put a date on it. Put a day on it. By December 15th, 2011, 2012. Put a date on it. It has to be time sensitive. So all of your goals, no matter how you set them, and listen, there are books out there on goal setting. There are videos and trainings out there on goal setting. You can buy programs on goal setting. There's websites on goal setting. You can get text messages to remind you of your goals. Everything, you wouldn't believe what is available out there to help you set goals. But listen, the key thing is this simple word, SMART. Make your goals specific. Make them measurable. Make them achievable or attainable. Make them realistic. And make them time sensitive. Give yourself a deadline. Hey, I'll see you next time.